Hello, Mercer family. My name is Tracy Amirs, and I am one of the senior counselors for the Educational Opportunity Fund program. And I am here today to speak with you very briefly about student habits for virtual learning. So I know we've all going through this transition of now being home and not being on campus. For some of you, this is your norm, but for the majority of us, this is a big change. So I just want to take a few minutes to go through how to handle studying at home because there is a big difference. So let's just go through the different slides. So the first slide, as I just said, there's been a big change in the way we study. This first picture kind of shows what most of us are probably used to, going to the library, maybe being outside in the gazebo if the weather was good enough, outside the communication building, outside the auditorium. We all found our different niche where we would study alone or with others. And some of you might be like this young man here where you're like, help, what's going on? I need help, I'm alone, what do I do now? And some of you might be like this young lady where you've kind of figured it out, you're feeling more confident. But regardless of where you are, the focus of today's presentation is to help you come up with ways to manage the virtual studying. So the first thing we want to do is take a pulse check. Recently, just in January, I started going swimming at the Mercer pool, and I found out that I really loved it a lot. It was very relaxing, a great way to start my day. I would go early in the morning before I went to work. And I noticed with some of the more seasoned swimmers, I was just going lap by lap, thinking, reflecting on what I had to do for the day. But I would notice that some of the other swimmers, after a few laps, they would stop, check the clock, and kind of take their pulse. And because they weren't just swimming mindlessly, they wanted to know what was going on in their body, their heart rate, and see if they were being effective in what they were doing. And I realized we almost have to do the same thing right now as we're studying at home. Kind of take a pause. Okay, I have a week and a half left in the semester. May 4th is the last day of the semester. Where am I right now? What do I need to do better? What do I need to do differently? What have I done amazing at? And just take an assessment of how things are going right now since we've made this transition to online learning. And after we take that pulse check, what do we need to do? We need to strategize. So for all of you sports lovers out there, on the right, you will see the game plan, whether it is basketball or baseball. No one goes on the field or no one goes on the court without a plan in mind of what everyone's going to do. So we're going to strategize for a little moment about what we're going to do when it comes to handling our virtual studying. So the first thing I want to talk about is identifying my distractions and the solutions. All of us have distractions, and sometimes they're personal distractions, or with us being home and living with others, the distractions might come in the form of family, friends. Some of you are parents out there, so you have little ones who you're helping with their schoolwork. You're helping them just stay busy and maybe have to take them outside to play. Any healthy child, they're busy children. So identifying your distractions, but also coming up with the solutions. Over the past several weeks, many students have said, well, Ms. Mears, you know what, there's just no quiet place for me to study because I'm home with my siblings, I'm home with my family, possibly grandparents, extended family. I don't know how to cope with this. So sometimes what we found out in working with some students, if they find out that, everyone wakes up at say 6 o'clock, oh no, not 6 o'clock, maybe 8 o'clock in the morning, and maybe they go to bed maybe around 9 or 10, students are trying to figure out how to rotate around their family. And some of them have found out that, if I wake up at 6 o'clock, I maybe get 2 quiet hours before everyone wakes up. And yes, it's a struggle, but they found out I need that quiet, I need that peace. I might need to go out in the backyard. I may need to walk down the block, and find a quiet space where I can do my studying. So for many of us, it's not just acknowledging that there are distractions, but coming up with the solution of how to manage it. So that comes with managing your time. It comes with finding that particular space that you can that niche that you can carve out where you can find a place for you to focus and do what you need to do for your classes. The other thing I want to talk to you briefly about is identifying your available resources. One of the hardest things about being at home is that you many times feel like, well, you know what, I am doing this by myself. But what I want you to know is that there is an army of Mercer people, of Mercer staff and faculty who are more than willing to help you, and we are ready to help you. So what I'm going to do very quickly is change screens, and I want to show you the Mercer website. So if I share with you right now, you should be seeing the Mercer website now. And we all see it on a daily basis, but many times, you know, it's sometimes hard to poke around and find exactly what we're looking for. So as we're strategizing, I'm going to take you to a few particular places that I believe will be very helpful to you right now as you're studying at home. One of the first places that I want to take you to is the Tutoring Center. Yes, they are still up and running. Yes, they are still ready to help you with your math, with your sciences, with your English, whatever the particular subject is, there are people there to help you. So in case you're not familiar, I just want to take a few seconds just to take you through. If you go to Students, click on Student Services. Let me just close this box real quick. Student Services, it's right there, Tutoring Services. And when you click on Students Tutoring Services, excuse me, there is a breakdown of what you need to do to reach out to the various areas. So they have it right on the top where it's easily accessible. And it says MCC Free Online Tutoring Services and Resources. So let's click there. And once we click there, we see everything that's available to us right now. So you have the tutor matching service, and of course they provide instructions and they let you know that you have up to an hour a day and that you need to schedule your online appointments with the professional tutors. So you want to click on the link, follow through, and create the appointment that works best for you. So with that being said, if I already know that I have a math final or a test coming up next week, or maybe I have it on Friday or Monday, I will probably want to start as soon as possible seeing what is accessible to me, because as the semester is coming to a close, more people are going to be thinking, maybe I should follow up with that tutoring. So you want to make sure that you're not waiting an hour before you need the services. I'm not saying it's not available, but you want to give yourself as much leeway and time to get the support that you are in need of. Also, we have essay glance for those in the English classes, or you might be writing a psychology paper, a sociology paper. You can have assistance with your essays. And they are also in Microsoft Teams in your portal. There is access to weekly tutoring for pre-calc, calculus, microbiology, and statistics. So there are also videos, and they provide a lot of additional information that you would find beneficial. So again, part of strategy is knowing the resources that are available to you, and not when you need them or in an emergency, but kind of strategizing and seeing what's out there so that when you need it, you don't have to spend the time looking for it. So that's one area that I want you to become familiar with. The other area that is very important in the strategizing is the library. For some people, English 101, English 102, again, some of your other classes, you might need to do some research, or you might need to get that extra book or so from the library to cite or to provide as a resource in your paper. So another place, and if you're not familiar with the website and you're like, I don't know where to look, this beautiful search link here is a gift. So simply just click on it. And in this case, we're looking for the library. And look, there you go, library services. So with the library, they have various ways for you to contact them. Of course, they're not physically there on campus, but they have this wonderful library chat where you can communicate with someone. And then there's also the email that you can send them an email. And I know personally that they are very, very quick in replying to the needs of the students. And and here again, there's another option for you with on Google Hangout. So we have that. So again, make sure that you utilize the resources. Another area that you want to strategize on is, how am I feeling with everything going on? In speaking with students, I'm hearing words like overwhelmed, I'm tired, I'm unmotivated, I'm stressed, I'm scared. There's a variety of feelings that are going on, not just because of academics, but because of what's going on in our world. And many times that can impact how we're studying, our focus. So you want to make sure that you're taking, again, your pulse on how you're feeling emotionally, how you're feeling mentally. And sometimes you just need someone to talk to and to kind of work out what's going on in your mind and going on in your emotions. And here at Mercer, again, you have the resources available to you. So going back to the presentation, I'm going to show you, let's see, we have Michael Geisert, and I'm going to go back to this. Here we go. We're back on track. Okay. We have Michael Geisert, who is our licensed clinical social worker, and he's also a licensed alcohol and drug counselor. And here is his contact information. And we also have Dorothy Gasparo, who is a licensed professional counselor. So again, these are individuals who are waiting to speak with you, encourage you, support you, and give you the assistance that you need as you're taking your pulse on how you're doing mentally and emotionally. And then also, your professors, your #1 resource for your class. Do you know your professor's email? Do you know when their office hours are? If you're running into a particular assignment that you can't quite figure out, or you're having issues with technology, or something arises at the last minute, do you know how to let them know what's going on? Because again, you can't just walk to the office down the hall. We have to make sure that we're in communication. So knowing your professor's office hours, knowing their contact information is very important. And again, even though we're home alone, doesn't mean that we can't also study with our classmates. Whether you're in Blackboard, you can send an email to them. I know you guys are amazing in social media and contact and say, you know what, let's do a study group virtually, whether through Zoom or some other technology where you can connect together and work out the problems or challenges that you might be having. So another important step when it comes to virtual studying is a routine. And we talked about strategizing just now and finding our resources. When you have all that information, then you can put it into a schedule, into a framework that works for you. So for example, I put this example of a schedule here on the screen. And this person wakes up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm a person like that. The earlier in the morning, I'm better. By 10 o'clock, things are getting a little iffy. But you might be the opposite. You might be the person who is the night owl, where around 8 o'clock, you get this burst of energy and you're not so great in the morning. Again, you have to figure out, take your pulse, figure out what works best for you when it comes to studying. On a personal note, hey, I would rather wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and study versus 11, 12 o'clock at night or midnight. You might be the complete opposite. Neither one is right, neither one is wrong. You just have to figure out what works best for you. Using the resources we just found, if you know that you're going to need tutoring for that math class, right? If I was taking a math class right now, I would need the tutoring. I would need to say, okay, Tricia, you're going to need help with math. The semester's coming up. I need to make that appointment. And in my schedule, I would map out when I'm going to do my tutoring, based on when they're open, when I'm going to do the homework, and start working out a routine that's going to work for me with the semester coming out. So yeah, does it take some time? Yes, but it's important and it really does make a difference. And it's not just all about working and classwork. Part of studying is being able to put in a routine of when you're going to rest or when you're going to No, it says church on here. Some people are going to their synagogue or to their mosque or to their church virtually. So they're not actually leaving the house anymore. Some of these things have changed, but all of these are important to making sure that we have our life in balance. So a routine doesn't mean that we turn into a robot where it's like there's no room for change, but we're just giving ourselves, again, that framework, that blueprint of what we need to do so that we can accomplish our goals. The next step is discipline. This is a word that many of us don't really get excited about, but as I'm getting older, I realize like discipline is everything. It really makes a difference. And I saw this quote and I thought it was pretty cool. It says, discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. So it's amazing to have a goal. So you're going to say, well, my goal is for this particular class, I want to have the goal of, finishing it. I didn't expect to take a class online. I signed up for a face-to-face class, and now I'm taking the class online. Never for a million years expected this. But my goal is to finish the semester and finish the semester with a grade of this, okay? Whatever that is for you. So it's great to have the goal, but discipline is the bridge that gets you to accomplish that goal. So once you have the strategy, once you come up with the routine, discipline is the thing that actually helps you to what? Like Nike says, just do it. So this is also an important part of creating those virtual studying skills. So if I say I'm going to study starting at 6 o'clock in the evening, if you're that night person, or 6 o'clock in the morning, if you're that morning person, it doesn't matter the time. It just matters that you do it and that you do it consistently so that what you're studying is actually getting into your brain so that you can practice it. And when it's time for a test, you can actually give back what you've learned and do well on the exam. And then the other part of studying virtually is to take breaks. Please, we are not robots, we are human beings. And I love, again, this quote. It says, take a break to recharge your human battery. And our human battery is this thing up here between our right ear and our left ear. It is our brain. And you've ever heard the expression, my brain hurts, like when we've done too much or it's just not making sense anymore, or you might be falling asleep, or you're like, I read this 5 times and I still don't know what it says. That is a sign that it's time to take a break. In fact, you probably needed the break probably 15, 20 minutes beforehand. So part of strategy is finding out what works for you when it comes to taking a break. For example, with me, I love to read. So you will probably, it doesn't matter where I am, you will probably find me with my tablet, with my Kindle on here, with my books downloaded, or now that I'm home a little bit more, I don't get freaked out by this, but I found this book, and as you can see that it is not touched. I haven't really read it, but a while ago, this was a gift that someone gave me. And one of my favorite authors is, I don't know if you can see it, but it's Jane Austen. So this is a book of all of her major novels are in here. And as you can see, I haven't touched it. So one of my goals not is to read the whole thing. I'm not going to do that to myself, but is to kind of go back to, yes, I have the Kindle, but to kind of go back and read some of those classics that I haven't touched in a while. And I know you're like, reading is fun, but for some of us, it is fun. It kind of, you get to go to this different place. So again, with the breaks, figure out what does it for you. For some of you, it might be a 10-minute walk outside, get some fresh air. For some of you, it might be listening to some music, your playlist. Again, no right or wrong, do what works for you. But realize that breaks are not really optional. If you really want to make sure that you're grabbing and absorbing the information that you're studying, breaks are essential, okay? And then in closing, I want to just share with you this quote again. As you can see, I'm into quotes. It says you will never speak to anyone more than you speak to yourself in your head, right? We kind of speak to ourselves all day, every day. And the final word to that is be kind to yourself. So as you strategize and as you move on and make that plan a reality, and as you use your resources, as you work on your discipline, and as you do what you need to do with the studying, you do your time management, you set up your schedule, all of those things, realize that there are going to be some good days and then some other days that may not have occurred as you planned. You plan to complete maybe 40 questions and you realize you only completed 25 or 30 because it took longer than you thought it would. During those moments, it's very important what we say to ourselves. That is not the time to kind of beat yourself up. That's the time to kind of re-strategize. Okay, I didn't finish as much as I did today. How do I, reschedule or rework the rest of my week? But in all of that, make sure that you are kind to yourself. Because as you're kind to yourself, again, working emotionally and mentally, it allows your brain to absorb more of what you're actually doing. We know what we can say to ourselves sometimes, and sometimes we kind of beat ourselves up and I am so, those words that we tell ourselves. It's very hard to study when we're already beating ourselves up or maybe calling ourselves names that's not the best and most reaffirming. So as you are going through this journey of studying at home, virtually, please know that we are out here, and please feel free to contact, again, those people. We talked about Dorothy Gasparo, Michael Geisert, and make sure that you reach out to them and your faculty. There's so many people who are here waiting to be of service to you. So again, thank you again for joining, and I hope you have an amazing semester and all the best to you and your families. Take care. Goodbye.